I know you got me, man. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hold up. Hit that like button, smack it. Lay the smack down, like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up. And a message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we can get into it. Whatever you want to talk about, we can get into it. And if for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV, or go directly to the YouTube live chat, hit the super chat button, send your question or comments there. I'll read them live on air. All right, cool. What's today? Today's Thursday. What does that mean? Character Breakdown Thursday. We breaking down character on Thursdays. You guys know this. You guys know that my episodes weekly are themed. Each day is a different theme. Monday, Grace and Mercy Mondays. Tuesday, True Crime. Wednesday, Relationship. Thursdays, Character Breakdown. So today we're getting into that stuff. All right? All right, first thing I want to do before we get started is say hello to y'all. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Second thing is I got to get to these super chats right off the bat real quick. And then we're going to get into the stuff, all right? We getting into some stuff. Let me go right here because I have on Buy Me a Coffee. People were going crazy yesterday. Going crazy on Buy Me a Coffee. Eric Harlan, he wasn't done. Eric Harlan had some stuff to say. Eric Harlan says, men are valued for their experience because they must create their value. Women aren't valued for their experiences because they're born with their value. A woman's burden of responsibility is to retain her value. She does this through restraint of her behaviors. Thus, she's valued for her lack of experience. Interesting. So, I think it goes both ways, Eric. Eric was referring to yesterday, talking about men being the one that are allowed to have, more sexual partners because that gives them experience to have a better understanding of life. I don't agree to that. I don't think that that's a rubric of how wisdom comes, like a formula is a better word to use of how wisdom comes. I think that experience can be a teacher, but not an excuse. But fair enough, Eric. If Eric goes on to say, Joel, this is super deep. Women aren't valued for their experiences, so they develop deceptive personalities to keep their experiences secretive. Oh. A woman's experiences bond her to her imagination. Satan, the great deceiver. Satan becomes a woman's god because she depends on her imagination to justify her behaviors. Women are evil because seeking truth conflicts with their survival strategy. Interesting. Women lacking virtue depend on deception. Women aren't concerned with the truth. They're concerned with how they feel. Without the truth, you can only lead others into hell. This is why whenever you listen to a woman, you will suffer. Okay. I want to speak on the parts of this that I agree with. The other parts, I'm just not sure exactly what you mean, Eric. But I want to talk about women seeking the truth conflicts with their survival strategy. I want to point to that really quick, which is true, is that oftentimes, and this goes for men too, is that people don't want to seek out the truth. All people don't want to seek out the truth at some point because they may have to sacrifice their feelings within, right? Sacrifice the things or stuff. And because of that, those things, those thrills are how they get by, how we get by, right? How we feel good throughout the day, life is not so boring, how life kind of has a little bit of pleasure there, which is why we do these thrills. And people won't all the way seek the truth because they think that they're going to lose out of those thrills. So I'll agree to that. And he says, women lack virtue depending on deception. Women aren't concerned with the truth. They're concerned with how they feel. This is another thing that is not true with maybe not all, but that has a lot of a lot of wisdom in that. And because women feel so deeply, they are more concerned with the feelings opposed to the truth, oftentimes. Now, it doesn't apply to all, and that can be changed, of course, but there is truth in that. And blah, blah, blah. But right on, Eric. I appreciate it, man. You make some good points. Some points I just don't quite understand, and I don't have time to dig too deep in those points here on the show. And you got to shorten your super chats a little bit, man. They're too long. I appreciate you just, trying to get in there what you can, but just shorten them up a little bit. Jaden, man, I'll have to come back to some of these. I might have to come back to Jaden. Jaden, I'll come back to you, man, because these are long. Eric, too. Man. Eric sending novels. I have to read that one later, Eric, but I appreciate it because it's just too long. But anyway, let's get to it. Thank you for the super chats. I got to move on. Oh, 1 second. Well, she's not coming in right now. This is not till later, which is pre-taped. Oh, confirm with Jesse. Yeah. Okay, anyway, moving on. So, with that being said, listen, guys, I got to tell you guys something. Character Breakdown Thursday, we got to get into it. We got to talk. Okay? I came across this video, right? And there's this black man, and he was in the car, right? Strapped up. When I tell you, this man was strapped up as if he was going to battle war. When I tell you. And when I first saw this, you obviously think like, what the? But you'll be surprised the way it turned out. But I still got questions. So we're going to talk. We're going to talk about this. This is from Instagram. Man fully loaded with guns and suspicious attire gets pulled over by cops, and we're gonna see how this turns out. It's kind of long, about a couple minutes long, but it fully explains the situation. Here we go.
I know you got me, man. This car not even supposed to be on the street. I was driving. They was gonna come tow it. I'm transporting everything out of here to my other vehicle. I'm just trying to just drive it. I got another car at the dealership. You know what I mean? Because I know it's not supposed to be on the road. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You mind if I see your face, brother?
Oh, no.
You good. So, okay. So, are you transporting your gun from the range?
Or? Oh, no. I'm well, let me explain. So,
you got a handgun on you too.
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you what I do. So I'm a firearm instructor, state of Maryland, certified firearm instructor.
You got your instructor card?
I got everything. I'm gonna pull everything up for you. I'm also ex-law enforcement, current.
Where you at? Okay.
So that's why I got machine guns back there, silencers, anything you need, just let me know. But no, seriously. Listen. When I pop the trunk, you gonna be like, who the f is this guy? But I got all my documentations in the back seat. I'll give you everything. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure y'all was like, who the hell is this guy, man? Shades on, you know what I mean? Let me check him out.
Okay. And you got
I'm actually, like I said, I was dropping this off because it's not supposed to be on the road. You know what I'm saying? I was dropping it off, taking everything out, and then shooting out to go do a class, actually. You know what I mean?
Okay. Where your class at?
Gun-tree.
Oh, you going Gun-tree on Owens Mills.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna make sure your credentials good.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Take your time, man. Like I said, if you allow me to pop the trunk, I can give you my other credentials. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I'm gonna stand by because I want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
That
I'm
we're
keep
safe.
my hands here.
Yeah. Look, listen. You got a lot of arson, and you got the Glock on your chest.
Yes, sir.
Is the AR back there? Is that unloaded?
No, everything is loaded. Everything is loaded.
So you got just give me a favor. Keep your hands.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep my hands like this for y'all. That's cool?
Okay. No. You find this
right,
on the steering wheel.
Yes,
so
sir.
you have a loaded Glock.
Hey, listen. Hey, sir. Listen, man. I want everybody to be safe. You know what I mean? And I could be anybody, be a fucking terrorist. So I get it.
That's what I'm saying. So you do have a Glock here.
Yes, sir.
Anything else on your person?
Yes, sir. I got a Glock on my chest, obviously, and I also have a SIG 365 in my appendix.
In your appendix?
Well,
okay. Hey, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Concealed.
Yo, like ram about this.
Hey, no, actually, and you know that's what I do. I walk like this because this is my brand. I'm on IG 2 Guns Deep. So when you see me, you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like,
you is like Rambo, brother.
Oh man, you have no clue, man. And those are fully automatics in the back, machine guns.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay, look. So as far as we know, nothing happened. Nothing crazy happened, right? And the purpose of this video is because there was a guy explaining how this is a good example of complying, right? If you just comply, nothing will happen. Mind you, this man has rifles fully loaded in the trunk, all kinds of stuff, right? Permitted. He said they're permitted. All kinds of stuff. And he's strapped at his chest. He got another one in his belt, I believe. And he got a face mask on, glasses, like it's not looking good. It's not looking good, right? The only way, I have two things to say about this, okay? Two things. It's character breakdown, so we got to get into it. First thing is that the only way this worked, you had to have decent cops and decent black. That's the only way this situation did not go out of control. You got to have a decent cop and a decent black. That's the only way. Good character across the board had to be apparent in this situation. Reason why is because if there was let's just say if the black man was not compliant, if the black man was very irrational, right? If the black man was very confrontational, attitude, he's dead. He's dead. Even if the cops were, I'm talking about if the cops were great and the black man was irrational in his attitude, strapped up like that, Glock on his chest fully loaded, mask up, eyeglasses on, rifles in the back, he's done. He's cooked. Cops blowing up the car, him in it. That's what's happening because of the fact that cops cannot take the chances in these situations. At any point, he grabbed this one, pull it out, boom, 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 done. Cooked. Everybody cooked. All cops cooked, right? So cops can't take no chances. I'm going home to my wife and children. That's what cops are thinking. I ain't risking my life for this man. Period. So if he had attitude, he's done. He's dead. Now let's flip it though, because we got to be fair-minded, right? We got to be fair. Let's flip it. If he was exactly how he is right now, compliant, right? Telling the cops, very informative, informing the cops of what he has and all that stuff, that everything is legal, blah, blah, blah. But yet he's still dressed this way, got it fully loaded on his chest. If the cop was bad, he's dead too, right? He's dead too, because if the cop went in there angry or judgmental or looking down on the black man, because typically we know the behaviors, and he goes in there with a chip on his shoulder, he's dead, because he would have justifiable means to shoot this man. Look at him. Justifiable means to shoot this man, right? And it would be a whole case, and it would be a whole story. Benjamin Crump would probably be behind it. Al Sharpton jump on TV, and it would be this whole thing, right? If one of these two people were out of line, it could have ended totally different. But because the cops were decent and the man were decent, it ended off good. One thing want to say to the black man is that I appreciate the fact that he was like very informative. Like, look, man, like, I get it. I know what you guys are doing. You guys are just trying to do your job. I got the stuff in the back. And look, I'm fully certified. I'm going to, he had receipts. I'm going to the place, wherever the place is, the range, right? I'm about to go teach a lesson. That's what I do. Just to let you know, I got rifles in the back. Like, he was very informative, letting them know everything. He had receipts for his explanation, right? Perfect. I think that's perfect that he did that, and that's the reason why he's alive today. But nonetheless, blacks got to be a little bit smarter about the way they dressed and the perception of themselves. The perception of themselves. You got to just be a little bit smarter in understanding the way that you are perceived, right? You got to understand that there's going to be, you're going to get discriminated against. Why? That's scary. That's scary. That boy, that's scary stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of these situations happen. So if I were him, I would not be, now he's a certified shooting instructor. So maybe he's legitimately going to this class. Go in there with a button up just to start. Bring a change of clothes. This is your outfit, because he says he's a social media influencer. This is his look. This is his attire. That's fine. Go to drive to your class, regular clothes. Do your hair a little bit. You know what I mean? Throw some gel in your hair. Keep the music down. Right? Drive there, 2 hands on the wheel. Right? No problems. That's the safest bet, and I hope that he learned that from this situation. Because Lord have mercy, he took a risk. He took a risk. Joel doesn't know there are states where you can walk around with a rifle in public. It's not even so much about being able to walk around. Listen, there's still a decent way to do that. There's a decent way to wear a rifle. Have a rifle in your car or whatever the case is. I mean, walking around with a rifle in a grocery store, come on. Like, that's not realistic. But like having a rifle in the car that's visible or whatever, understandable. Having a gun on here that's visible but in place, right? Understandable. But him, the way he's dressed right now, is very suspicious. Very suspicious. Chris is right. Don't be so flamboyant in the way that this is. Just don't be so naive into the way that you dress, right? Like, be aware. So that would be my advice, in my opinion, to just blacks in general. When you're out and about, just know you reflect a look that tends to be suspicious, and it ain't personal. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? And my little opinion to the cops is that they've been through a lot of stuff. They're on edge. They don't know what to expect. They can't trust anybody. But it's not an excuse to walk into any situation with a chip on your shoulder. I ain't saying it's easy. I ain't saying that I would do any better. I ain't saying that I would do any different. But I'm just saying that's not the proper way to approach situations with the chip on your shoulder, expecting bad to happen, because then you end up being the aggressor. And that's not a good place to be either. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was interesting. What you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Because I found that to be very interesting. I also have something else too that I want to give you guys. But let me check and see these super chats here. Because I thought that was like, what the... That is interesting. Also, what I wanted to say is that how I think that a lot of this stuff can be avoided. And then I'll get to the super chats in a second here. How I think that a lot of this stuff can be avoided is changing what we teach in the schools, right? The school system, right? Changing what we teach in the school system. Because I came across this article on the Blaze, very interesting, very straight to the point, very obvious, but it sparked something that I wanted to talk about. And I think that it would help if this was incorporated into the black community. Okay? This is from the Blaze. The Cultural Revolution of the 1960s undermined every pillar of American identity, and public religion was no exceptions. Supreme Court ruling in 1962 and 1963 struck down state-led prayer and mandatory scripture reading in public schools. While these decisions didn't explicitly ban biblical education as literature or cultural instruction, they effectively removed it from the classroom. Over time, institutional pressure and administrative caution eliminated nearly all engagement with the Bible in the public square. That is true. We know this to be true. As far as the dates go, according to the Blaze, those were the dates. But we've known that the Bible was in schools, and religious readings and teachings were in schools at one point. And at one point they were taken out of schools, and over time they'd started to almost like be rebuked in school. You can't talk about this in school, right? It got real far from the school curriculum, the Bible did, right? Or any religious teachings went real far straight away, real far from the school curriculum. And obviously what that does is that introduces a different way of living, right? The teachers stop teaching it due to pressure, and then the kids just go out of control. I think, in my opinion, that regardless of what was going on at home, because it all starts in the home, right? Regardless of what's going on at home, if they brought Bibles back into the schools in general, but especially the inner cities, black communities, or even just the poor communities in general, but specifically black communities, then a lot would change. I'm going to tell you why. It's because you got to understand that when it comes to black community, street code, and I've talked about this before, street code is its own Bible. It's its own religion, street code. Street code has its own rules of how to conduct yourself in life. I don't know all the street code. I'm not from the streets. I don't know everything about it. So I can't say I'm 100% correct here. But a lot of the things I do know and most people know about street code, it literally is in opposition to the truth, right? Don't snitch. Eye for an eye. Get revenge. Defend yourself. Don't let anybody disrespect you. All these things are kind of in opposition of what Jesus came back and taught. So what happens when there's no ruling in the home and there's no teaching in the school? Then what is the teachings that the kids have? The streets. The streets is their information. The streets is their teacher. The street is their teacher. So what happens? They get an education. First round. They get a full ride education to the street for free. Free of charge. Free of charge. You don't got to pay nothing. You don't got to get in debt. Nothing. Free of charge educations in the street. And we all know what happens at that point. So if Bible, and this is just my opinion, if the Bible was into the schools, introduced back into the schools, I think that the kids will have a way better chance, especially in the black community. The black kids will have a way better chance of going in the right direction in life. Why? Because doesn't mean that it's going to change everything. Doesn't mean that they're still not going to get involved in the streets. No, but what it's doing is it's introducing an alternative way of thinking, right? It's introducing an alternative way of thinking. And what that also does is the words and the examples, the stories, and let's just say the teachers are doing a decent job explaining it. What it's doing is opening their mind up to what is true, what is real, what is right, right? And that will fight on behalf of the rules of the street. You know what I mean? So the kids will have a fighting chance. Tell me that's not good. Tell me that ain't good. So I think that across the board, I think that we need to put the Bible back into the school curriculum. Even if it's taught in a fluffy way, bring it back. Bring it back. Even if the teachers aren't teaching it properly, bring it back. Bring it back. Because there needs to be an alternative, and it needs to be there. There needs to be something fighting on the behalf of this secular teachings in the school. And I believe that the Trump administration is the start of that turn, the shift. I don't know if Trump is going to get Bibles put back in school in his administration, but I think that him being here is the start to a turn of events. I just believe that to be true. And we will start seeing. Because look at, what's his name? What's his name? RFK. The man can hardly speak, but it seemed like he do getting some stuff done. He just officially banned the dyes, right? The artificial food coloring. Officially banned it to where they'll be flushing out certain artificial food dyes by the end of 2026. Kind of far away, but still, it's in motion. And replacing those food dyes with more natural ingredients. So hopefully that really falls through. Hopefully it's not all talk. hopefully people, and actually some places in California, and in California, I think somewhere else, I forgot, maybe Ohio. There's only 2 states so far that have completely removed those dyes in the public school. 2 states, California and another one. It wasn't Texas. Texas ain't done it yet. Wasn't Florida. Nah, maybe they're on the way, but so shout out RFK Jr. for doing that, and I hope that it really follows through, and I hope that it really takes action. Because yeah, all this stuff is just like needs to be turned around. Common sense stuff. You know what I mean? Common sense stuff. So put the Bibles back in the schools. All right? And I think we'll be just fine. Amazing stuff. Let me check the super chats again. Kale says, the picnic called and wants his tablecloth back. Let's hear. Let's hear. This is a nice shirt, okay? It's classy. This is what you call black excellence, okay? So, I'm trying to represent for my people here, okay? I'm trying to show folks what a nice shirt look like in the black community, okay? Let me do me, Kel. Let me represent. Appreciate it, Kel. Thank you, man. Let me get to the super chats real quick. People trying to get in on this. Eric Harlan with a few donuts says street code is the destructive brainwashing of rap music. Fair enough. It's caused by the lack of fathers in the home, children raised by angry mothers and angry rappers. Very true. I think the rap culture and the street are synonymous. They work together. And that's how it happens. But you're right, Eric. Eric's a smart guy. Eric be thinking. But I agree. It's the brainwashing. And yeah, we just need to do it better. It's caused by the lack of fathers in the home. Yeah. Interesting. Oh, I have one more thing and I'm going to get to a call right now. Right on, Eric. True stuff. Jaden. I got to read Jaden's coffee because he was excited yesterday. Jaden is one of the callers who call into the show here. For those that don't know, he's 18 and he just recently joined into the military. He's an alpha bro, but he's turned into a fine young man by listening to all the shows here at Bond and working on himself. But he young and he be saying stuff like going on dates and making them the girls get on a knee and giving them water and giving them water on a knee. Like, here you go, master. And then when they do that, he tells them, how you feel? And then she says, I feel like this is not right. And he tells the girls, that's the devil in you. You got to overcome. But he just trying to do what's right. But Jaden sends me some donuts here on Buy Me a Coffee. Joel, I was out canning yesterday. And canning is he goes into the different neighborhoods and gets cans out like the dumpster and stuff like that. For 4.5 hours, I sweated for 3 huge bags full of cans and water bottles. And I head down the street for some more cans, come back, and all my bags are gone. Some homeless man must have hit the jackpot with my freaking cans, dude. My ego started throwing a fit and getting angry. So angry I wanted to stop canning. It was 4:30 a.m. and I kept pushing through to let go of it. I turn the corner and the street is filled with jackpot houses. 20 cans per trash can. 20 cans per trash can. Hallelujah, there's the Jesus. The best part is when I had replenished what had been lost, a man came by and handed me $20 out of nowhere. It's like God has restored all that I had lost and more. I'm glad I had a wait-and-see mindset and didn't just give up because I was angry. Here's some trash money, buddy. Right on, Jaden. Well, I'm glad that worked out for you, and I'm glad that you paid attention and realized that you shouldn't be overreacting to the hobo taking your stuff. Hobos do that. That's what they do, right? And you didn't overreact, or when you felt it a little bit, you watched it, and God restored all your money. Because it ain't about things, it's about faith. And I've struggled with that a lot in my life. The trusting that God will provide in all things. So that's a lesson right there, that no matter what happens, God will provide if your faith is in him and you're working on yourself. So shout out to you, Jaden, for that. But let me tell you this, man. Let me tell you this real quick. Just a little piece of advice. Stop calling digging in the trash canning. Right? Don't call it canning. It ain't canning. You're digging in the trash for cans. Okay? You're digging, right? And you don't want to be surprised when a hobo take your stuff, because you're doing exactly what the hobos also do. So it's competition, right? And you getting in the way, all right, of their competition. So if you're going to do the cannon stuff, I ain't saying stop. Do what you feel like you want to do. I ain't saying stop doing it, but be real about what you're doing. It ain't called cannon. Don't give it a nice name as if and make it sound like a profession. You digging in the dumpster for some trash, man. Call it what it is, so that way you don't identify it and you don't stay stuck there. Okay? That's my advice to you. Call it exactly what it is so you know what you're doing. And I ain't saying stop, but don't be lying. All right? Don't try to make it sound nicer. You're in the trash, man. And don't be mad at the hobos for doing what they do. All right? But I wish you well, Jaden. Amazing stuff. Let me go to the calls. Let me go to Ryan out of Illinois. Ryan, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's going on, Joel?
All is well, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing all right. At work. Look, man, I hear what you're saying about putting the Bible back in school.
Yeah.
For the black kids, but I disagree with you on that.
Okay.
Because, you know, where I'm from, most of the gangsters in the hood, we go to church 3 times a week. You feel me? We very, very close to the Christianity in the Baptist world. So
okay.
That has nothing to do with nothing.
You think so?
I think that's even worse. I think that's just giving them false hope. Telling them that they can go be killers and be forgiven. That religion is one of the worst things you can keep giving us, man. We need fathers. We do not need no book written by no strangers telling us about some God that's going to come save us. We don't need none of that. We need real men in these schools. Maybe field trips to the prison for some of these kids. We need something that they can see and touch and feel. You know what I'm saying? All this religion that y'all keep trying to push on these kids ain't working. They know it ain't real. You got to put men in front of them. Strong men who ain't afraid to be men. Teach these ass whoopers need to come back into school, if you ask me. Not no book. You know what I'm saying?
And
like, let's be real here.
Okay.
This generation is lost because there ain't no structure. There ain't nobody telling them what they got to do.
Right.
They feel like they feel like they got more voice than the parents. These kids can damn near get away with anything, and if you do something to them, I'm gonna call DCFS on you. You see what I'm saying? It's pushed by all these politicians. You can't even be a parent no more, really. But the real man still whoop their kids' ass, like me, for instance. I'm just saying, we don't need religion, man. We need real men.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough. Good point. Great point, actually, Ryan. I think that you're right. I think that what is most important is that father is in a home. Like I said in the beginning, that it all
Definitely.
starts in a home, and I think fathers need to be there. If father is there, it avoid a lot of this stuff. What I'm saying is that because there's no fathers in the home, it gives the children a fighting chance of hearing an alternative message than the streets. So I'm saying that it can't hurt to put the Bible back in the schools, because you got to think of it
Yeah,
like
but
this.
I'm
But
telling
listen, but
you,
let me tell you, is that you got to think of it like this. Yes, you're right that the blacks do go to church on Sunday for an hour, right?
nah,
But
not just Sunday, Wednesday and
listen.
Thursday,
Okay, well they go to church for an hour. Let's just say twice, realistically, because
twice a
realistically,
week. Okay.
okay, yeah, realistically they ain't in there 3 times a week. People in the black community, okay, unless they're forced. But realistically, they're there 2 hours, maybe 3 hours tops a week, 4 hours a week tops, right? Hearing the
No,
preacher.
Baptist church is from 10 to 2, though. It's 4 hours
Okay,
straight.
okay. So a couple hours a day that they're in the church, and the pastor is preaching, right, to the whole congregation. What I'm saying is
Correct.
that if the Bible was back in the schools, right, and kids were in these schools where the teachers are teaching from the Bible, or at least have a foundation of the Bible, what it does is that this 6 hours a day that the kids are at school, it helps transform their mind a little bit. It just helps, I think, because they're looking up to these teachers, and they're listening to what these teachers have to say, and they're there most of the day. I'm just saying it couldn't hurt if the Bible was
I
also
mean,
back in the school.
I hear what you're saying, but you might as well just give them the option to send their kids to Bible school then. You're going to do all that.
You said what? Say it
You
again?
know what I'm saying? I said, if you're going to have that much Bible in the school, you might as well just send them to Bible school. You know what I mean? Ain't no kid going to go to school and want to learn them. They going to skip even more. I'm telling you that ain't the answer.
Well, I'm not saying be.
They need something for these kids to do, Joel. There's nothing for these kids to do when they get out of school,
Okay, but
be
listen,
in the streets.
Listen, but
They took away all the programs. There ain't nothing to do but be in the streets.
right. But here's the thing. Yes, but here's the thing is that, like, what's the alternative now? Right now, the father's not in the home, right? What you can do is that, and I'm not saying the government need to be involved in all kinds of stuff, but I'm just saying you introduce the Bible back in there. And I'm not saying that now you start preaching to kids. No, that's not the right way to go about certain things. You shouldn't be preaching. You shouldn't be overdoing it and trying to shove it down the throat. What I'm saying is that if the foundation of teaching was based off of like biblical principles, or there's an undertone, at least an undertone in the classroom of just godly principles, then it would change the dynamic. Yeah, it would change the dynamic of how people think, because it would give them an alternative mindset of what is right and true.
Now let me throw you a curveball with this, Joel.
Okay,
it ain't even necessarily always all the kids. Have you been in these schools lately? These teachers are not about the Bible. They more devilish than students are. They got these transgender, color-wearing teachers teaching your kids about something that they don't need to be taught at an early age.
Right.
It's not just about the kids. These teachers going cuckoo too. You know what I'm saying?
But that's also, you got to understand, that's also what's driving the kids to the streets.
So you got how they going to teach the Bible when you got the devil in the classroom teaching?
But that's what I'm saying, is that's why it has to be. That's the whole thing, is that you got to also understand.
They got to start from somewhere different than the Bible, because ain't nobody going to read the Bible if the devil is the teacher. The teacher is not going to allow no Bible study moment. Just like every morning we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance when I was growing up. They don't even do that no more. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy to me.
But see, that's what I'm saying. All that stuff should be returned. All that stuff should be
It
returned.
should be. But first you got to fire all these weirdos that done snuck into these little systems.
Yeah.
Because if we don't get mature adults with some morals, mature adults with some morals, then our kids ain't going to learn that anyway. Because all they doing is learning from a goofy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it starts with the adults too. We need some real teachers that care about things that other than sexuality in the school. You feel me?
I agree 100%. So
it's way more, man. It's a whole lot going on. It ain't just the black kids in the hood. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of these kids too. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But I'm
I
telling
agree
you,
with that.
it need to be men, mature men need to step up.
Yeah.
And we need to have some type of things for these kids to do, get involved in, other than taking their frustration out on each other and killing each other. You know what I'm saying?
I agree 100%,
If they like
man.
to shoot so much,
But I gotta
they
jump.
need some type of program.
I run out of time,
Yeah,
though,
go
so
ahead,
I gotta jump in there. I think that what you're saying is true, and both need to be implemented. What I'm saying as well is that I agree. It starts in we need men that get in the system, and I think that we both can agree is that if the Bible is put back in the schools, it should be the proper people running it, and it should be men who are in charge, and they should be doing it properly and not overdoing it or beating them up with the Bible or anything like that. And the fathers need to be back in the home raising their children, and the society should be ran on principle and not necessarily just church all the time, but just principles, and that'll do the trick. But I think both are necessary. Would you agree?
Well said. I agree.
Right on, man. Well, I appreciate that. Good points. I got to keep the calls moving. Call me again, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All right. Let me keep it calls moving. Let me go to Maze out of Dayton, Ohio. Maze, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Yes, Joel. What putting the Bibles back in the classroom gonna do?
Oh, you didn't hear that last call?
I heard what he said. I'm saying, but what is it gonna do when you got the people that's outside of the school not into the Bible? The Congress read scripture every day, and look what they're doing to the people.
The point,
they're not providing anything, and then the fathers in the house. I don't know where y'all get this mess from. Fathers in the house. You got more kids that didn't have no father in the house doing better than some of those that's in the house with the
what?
father.
Maybe now you just making stuff up.
I'm not making stuff up. I can prove it to you. I told you anything I say, I can prove it to you. I don't just talk to be talking.
So you're saying that the people who don't have fathers in the home are doing better than the people who have fathers in the home?
They make better fathers than those that have one in the home. See, if you was around people and you saw people like that.
Maybe some cases, but are you saying?
Don't look at those. Well, why don't they study those cases? They always study no fathers in the home.
Because fathers in the home is a very, very, very important piece of whether or not the kid is going to go off doing well.
Because who said so? Society.
No, it's not society. No, that's not society. It's just design.
Yeah, design. Whose design?
Design? God's design.
No, that's not God's design.
What do you mean?
How is that?
Because the father leads the home. He covers the home. He's the protection of the family. He also passes down the wisdom. Not that the mom can't have wisdom and not that she can't protect, but it's his father's job to lead the house. And it's the father's job to make the son strong, even the daughter strong. And that's why the daughters love the father so much, because they draw strength from the father.
Joel, what I'm saying is society always talking about something. The society that's talking about it, they not have been no father in the house themselves. They done been married 2 or 3 times. So how could they been in the father's home when they got 3 sets of children by 3 sets of women? That's not what I'm saying. When I hear this society stuff,
I'm talking about good fathers. I'm talking about good fathers.
Oh, you talking about good fathers? Really? I want you to find those good fathers and talk about them. They always talk about the negative fathers. But then what I'm saying when they talk about the school system is so bad, this is the only place that I know of that the school system is so bad is America and tax dollars. But other places, why are these kids so smart? And the ones over here, I mean, are the teachers not teaching? Or they just leave them out there lame? They just sitting in the
Where are you talking about? Where are you talking about? What schools?
Say American children. You always said, and they always talk about the black kids in the school system.
Yeah.
You got kids overseas in different countries that's black.
Right.
Coming back over here way advanced than the ones that in this country.
Right, but I'm talking about in this country. I'm talking about in this country, Maze.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I want society to find out why those kids are so smart, because they don't have all of these things that America try to push off on the kids here. They don't have no Bible.
You know what? They have the hood. The hood ain't helping. Is the hood helping?
Yes, the hood is helping.
How's the hood? How's the hood helping the young child?
Hood is not causing America problems. They have hoods all over the world.
Okay, so what?
The kids are still
so
learning.
What's causing?
Why do we have to borrow people from other countries to be doctors?
Okay, but what is kids?
These things.
Okay, what's the problem that if it's not the hood that's adding to the hood and the family structure. What's the problem?
If you had the hood and the rural area together, you would get the same thing out of it.
If you had the say it again.
What different would you get out of the hood in the rural area?
If the hood was in a rural area, you would get the same thing because the hood.
You keep hollering the hood.
Because the hood is the issue.
What?
The street code.
Somebody to
and not the hood itself, but the street code that the hood teaches is the issue. You know
you want to call them compared to the rural area? What's the difference in them?
Say it again.
What do they have that each one of them have that the other one don't have?
What does one have that the other one don't have?
In the classroom with the Bible. And you take the Catholic Church, that's what they go. They have their Bibles in there.
Wait, mate, slow down because I don't understand what you mean. So I need you to explain what you're saying exactly.
You're saying you put the Bibles back in the classroom. The Catholic Church has Bibles in their classroom.
Okay.
Are they doing everything right?
Yeah. No, but are you saying it doesn't help at all?
No, it's not going to help. Help with
it's
what?
Not a help at all.
Now, did it help when they had them in there?
I'm not saying it was perfect, but I think that it would help. I think it would help. Let me tell you why I think it would help. It's because it's giving an alternative. There are some kids that may hear the word and it makes sense to them, right? And they can apply it to their lives, especially those that are battling with different type of teachings that maybe are being taught in a bad home, maybe being taught in the streets of how to kill, how all this stuff. But maybe if they have the Bible in the school, maybe there's a nice word that's in there that protects them from feeling like they have to go and be a murderer.
If you're looking at the world is murdering people, but they don't consider it as the same thing as the Christians do. So if you got one group of people over there on the other side of the world killing each other, you won't look at the ones over here and say they killing each other. What are they doing? The same thing. They're killing people that's not bothering them, or they killing people for some reason.
Killing is killing. I'm not justifying anybody.
I should not kill and people killing, right? So I don't know. That's society. You listen to what society got to tell you, and then try to do like society, you're going to be in trouble all the time. So I'm not putting the Bible in the back in the...
So what is the problem? So what would you say?
Back in there? When you got the devil trying to put them back in there, and the devil had them in there in the beginning, and then there still was no peace when they was in there.
So in your opinion, who do you think, what's the problem then? If it ain't the inner city teachings, if it ain't street code, if it ain't bad mothers and fathers in a home, what's the problem in your opinion?
Trying to tell somebody else what to do when they're doing the same thing that they're trying to act like one group of people are doing.
So what's the difference between society and the street?
So what is right with, if you want to put the Bible back in the classroom, so what is right by trying to erase history of other people and keep your history out there that you think is good, but your bad history, you don't want it to be seen? That goes right along with that Bible when it was in the classroom.
Whose bad history? Of the whites?
What?
Bad history of the whites?
Bad history of anybody that has some bad history, it needs to be told. So then you can compare it to see what was done then and say like, why were they doing this back there and they had bad Bibles in the classroom?
So you're saying, help me understand what you're saying. Wait, help me understand what you're saying. Are you saying that when they had Bibles in the classroom back then, bad things were happening?
Yes, there was.
Like what? You could be right. I'm sure there was. I've heard stories.
When they try to erase history, other people's history, you won't even know, because if you didn't grow up, or either you have the books or you have the proof in the paperwork, you won't know what happened. That's why they're trying to destroy. Why are they taking books out of the classroom?
But what does that have to do with principle, though? What does that have to do by teaching good morals and principles?
It's society's principle. Oh, guess who visited me today, Joel? Robert Lee, great-granddaughter. She won't come to the phone, but she visited me.
Nice.
And I would like for her to tell the story about her grandfather.
Okay.
But,
you should have.
You'd be a story for her to tell, and she's proof because she has everything to show that was her grandfather.
Nah, you should send her information to the Bond email.
No, I'm saying she's visiting me today. Just stop by to visit me.
Oh, I thought you were offering her up as a guest.
No, I'm not offering her up as a guest.
All right.
I'm just talking about people that I know.
All right, fair enough. Well, fair enough, mate. I think society is also could be the street codes.
They had Bibles back then, and what were they doing?
People were abusing it. It was being abused. It was abused in some places for sure. It was overused.
So that's what I'm saying. So you don't need the Bibles in the classroom because they're not going to change anything because you got the preachers.
I think it can help. But
you got the preachers that trying to give you the Bible and doing stuff to kids, and you go to the Catholic school, you got people doing stuff to the kids, and you just name all of the stuff with the Bible. Just like I say, do you pray to the Bible or do you pray to God?
Fair enough, man. I got to end. I'm out of time, but fair enough.
When they hard, they won't have to worry about no Bible in the first place.
Fair enough. I appreciate it.
What?
I appreciate it. I gotta end here.
And for those who mad, too bad. Have a good one.
All right. Oh, I gotta end, y'all. See Sal and the rest of the calls. I'm sorry, you just called in a little bit too late, and I'm out of time. And American Anchor Baby is coming in, and American Anchor Baby has to cut his show a little bit short because we have a guest coming in to the show for a punchy taping that I think you guys are gonna like. So make sure you guys tune into American Anchor Baby coming in right now. And in about 5 minutes here. Also, make sure you guys tune in on Monday for the brand new episode of Punchy TV. It should be interesting. All right, y'all. Until next time, I got to get up out of here. I got to go. I appreciate it. Until next time, I'm not here tomorrow, but I'm back here on Monday. I'll see you.
So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer.
I know some people have